Gawds recently announced the release of Michel Prado's second pro skate for the brand, and with it came this unbelievable documentary called The Rebirth of Michel Prado. The exquisitely made documentary was filmed and edited by Rafael Lopez Maldonado, and it is both terrifying and inspiring in equal measure. It's terrifying because it tells the horrific story of the time Michel Prado was attacked in a skate park. He was attacked from behind and kicked in the head by a skateboarder just from waxing some coping. He fell and hit his head on the ground and later went into a coma. The doctors informed his parents that there were only two likely outcomes. He would either die, or if he survived, he would be in a vegetative state for the rest of his life. What's inspiring about this story is Michel Prado made a full recovery and he is back skating better than ever. In fact, Michel Prado is skating so well that he's released 2 promos for his current pro skate. He has a skating only section, which is full of the amplitude that we've all come to know and expect of him. And at the end of this documentary, he has got a phenomenal part that combines huge amplitude hammer stunt skating and really technical rail skating. Some of the footage in this is phenomenal. In fact, in one of the tricks, he uses a rail-to-rail transfer on a kink rail as a run-up to do a disaster on an even bigger rail. That is insane. The documentary just goes to show the incredible things that are possible with the human body, its ability to overcome even the most horrific injuries, and it also says a lot about Michel Prado's strength as a human being and his character, that he was able to work that hard to get himself not just back to how he was previously physically, but even better. If you look at images of the man now, he is an absolute machine. He is ripped, huge, and skating like an absolute monster.
Right? Check. Oh, fuck. Oh my God.
Another interesting thing happened as a result of the documentary. In some of the footage, you can see Michel skating a prototype of his pro skate, and it looks very similar to an Anarchy skate that was leaked last year. In addition to the footage of Michel skating the prototype, Inline Warehouse also put up an image of Michel Prado holding the prototype, and you can see very distinct similarities between the Gawds Michel 2 Pro skate and the Anarchy skate that was leaked last year. Now, there are some differences between the Gawds skate and the Anarchy skate. The Gawds skate has a Velcro strap at the cuff, whereas the Anarchy skate has a typical buckle. And even though the skins are both based on the design of a brogue shoe, they are slightly different. However, the cuff and the sole plate are definitely the same. So it led many people to ask, did Gawds decide to use the Anarchy skate that wasn't released and release it with new branding? Yes and no. Actually, the story about this skate and how it came to be is quite interesting. When Michel was initially approached about having a second pro skate, he wanted to make something more budget, he wanted to make it more affordable for people, presumably because Michel is originally from Brazil and it's very expensive to get skate parts there because obviously it's on the other side of the world, you've got shipping to contend with, you've got international tax to contend with, and the Brazilian economy isn't that great, so it just makes things more expensive for people to enjoy the sport. Presumably he was trying to give them an option that more people could get involved with, more people could afford. So Powerslide approached a Chinese factory and wanted to use an open source shell. They would use the boot from the Chinese factory, but Powerslide actually designed the cuff and the sole plate themselves. Things were going great, it was almost ready for production, but when it came time to make the order, the Chinese factory actually wanted to sell it as a complete skate. They didn't want to sell it boot only. They wanted Powerslide to take the budget frames and the wheels that you can see on the Anarchy prototype. Powerslide weren't interested in this. They wanted to sell it as boot only. If they were going to sell it as complete, they obviously want to use their own frames, Kaiser frames, and their own wheels that Michel is sponsored by, Gawds wheels. They couldn't come to an agreement, so Powerslide decided to leave it for the time being and just kind of think on it a little bit. And in that time, the Anarchy skate was released, and Powerslide just decided to pull back completely and go with their own manufacturer. As a result, the final Michel Prado Pro skate that you see is completely different to that prototype. It has the Gawds cuff that we've seen on the previous Michel Prado Pro skate and the Frankie Morales Pro skates. It also has the USD 7 sole plate instead of the sole plate that we saw on the Anarchy skate, so it is an entirely different skate. Now, this isn't as uncommon as you'd think in the aggressive inline industry. In fact, there's been numerous examples in the past where multiple brands have used the same shells and actually released them at the same time. You've got the Rossi's shell that is used for the Rossi Street, the Rossi's Rome, and up until now, the Majestic 12. Rollerblade also used it for the TRS Lightning. They also used it for the Tarmac, the Boxcar, the Trooper, and other models, and both of those models were coming out at the same time. Another example of this is the open source shell that Razors used for their Cult model. It's also been used for the NIM skate, it was used for SSM, and most recently Impala used it for the recreational line.
Did you bring your rollerblades?
I literally go nowhere without them.
And the most recent example is the Them 908, which Them Skates used to launch their brand. It was previously an open source mold that was used by budget brands in the 90s, but they got hold of it, changed it up a little bit, put a new sole plate on it, and with some great branding and some very clever marketing, they managed to launch a very successful aggressive skate brand with it. The weird thing about this whole story is that none of this ever had to come to light, and it wouldn't have if people hadn't seen the promo shot of Michel Prado holding the prototype. I have no idea why they took that photo if that's not what they were going to use for the final version. I have no idea why they kind of sent it to Powerslide or why Powerslide sent it to shops. And it's also kind of strange that Inline Warehouse are using this as a promo when you actually click on the image for the skate and it's a completely different skate. So there's a lot of kind of weirdness and uncertainty here. I have no idea why they went for that. But for all the people out there wondering if Gawds decided to use the Anarchy prototype, technically it is the same skate, but it's actually Powerslide's design. The cuff and the sole plate were both designed by Powerslide. The shell would have been the same, but they've decided to go in another direction. As for Anarchy and that prototype, I've got no idea what the future holds for that. There's been rumours that it will be turned into another brand called Echo and they're going to release a similar thing. Whether that's possible or not, I have no idea. I would presume Powerslide have the patents for that cuff and sole plate because they tend to be quite good at that kind of thing. So it's uncertain what's going to happen with the future of that aspect. But the final Michel Prado 2 Pro Skate is entirely different to what we saw in that documentary, but makes for an interesting story, right? If you liked this video, consider giving it a like and subscribing to the Wheel Scene YouTube channel. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, behind the scenes stuff and stuff that's not on the YouTube channel, you can subscribe to the Wheel Scene Patreon. It's only £3 a month and there is loads of stuff in there. Thanks for watching. Speak to you guys soon.